Well, there's going to be no music and no intros today. I am jumping on here today with a message for all of you that you may or may not want to hear today. And this one today is called The Dangers of Your Ego. Yeah. Take a good, hard look at yourself right now. First and foremost, before you're going to look at anybody else, hear me out for a minute. Hear what I got to say for this video. I had to do this recently. Okay. As you guys know, I'm going through this major cleanse and fast, and I'm approaching 3 months. I was able to do things during these 3 months I never thought I would be capable of doing. And during that time, as you're purging stuff out, you have to take a good, hard look at yourself. Okay. So as I was doing this, and I've been doing this, yeah, I had decided and I had discovered that I have played a part, okay, in some of the things that have gone on in my life. And I have decided that my rules that I made for myself apply now to everyone, directly to everyone across the board. Okay? So now direct access to my time, my resources, my efforts, my personal business will be structured completely different than I had done previously. And my decision to be able to say no and cut people off is okay if I need to do that. I also know when I'm wrong and when I must apologize if I was wrong. My ego doesn't have to get in the way of that. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about today. There's no need to get mad or upset. Okay. If you have apologized, or if you have decided that you need to walk away from someone, whichever the case may be, let's just use these two things as an example. There's no need to be mad about that. If someone double crosses me or oversteps my boundaries I have set in place for myself, I just move accordingly. And I set bigger boundaries and expectations for myself. And when people don't want to meet those expectations that I have set, that's on them. But see, what happens, you guys, is that the ego gets very upset. The ego holds grudges. The ego harps on it. The ego waits for an apology from the other party. The ego demands justice. But God has a chuckle at that. Because you see, if we operate from that place, we're not operating from the light or from our true, authentic selves. So let me ask you guys something. Do you enjoy getting mad? Do you enjoy conflict? Do you enjoy the stress of drama? Do you enjoy having to tell a grown adult how to act like one? Do you enjoy apologizing to someone to only be shunned like you have the plague? No. And those are just some of the emotions I'm willing to bet you don't enjoy unless you might be operating from your ego. Perhaps You might be in a perpetual state of pessimism. All right. And we need to talk about that. Your authentic self, and I'm talking today to the people that are like me, okay? You are able to self reflect, you have introspection, and you are on the same playing field, okay? And you know because you've been following me and you relate to what I'm saying. So literally people like us, okay? When we don't want to operate from that place. We would like to, and we would prefer to operate from our authentic selves. Our authentic self doesn't like all those emotions I just described. So, what do you need to do? You literally need to tell your ego to get lost because the ego is where this is all operating out of. Now, let me talk for a minute about a pessimist. Guess where a pessimist resides from? You guessed it, their ego. Oh, my life is so much worse than yours. You wouldn't understand. Woe is me. Everybody sucks. I hate people. They all did this to me and they brought me here. Now, have any of us caught ourselves making these statements that I just said? I'm sure we all have at one point in time. Of course we have. But see, the pessimist stays here, is trapped here, never moves. I'm in a negative state because you brought it to me and I'll never forgive you. And I stay in this place because you're the reason for it all. And I do feel so sorry for myself. And this is years and years later. People are still saying this, you guys. So why I want to talk about this today. The negativity from others, if you think about it, has done its job. The devil has done its job. If that's the case for you, and you find yourself thinking like this often, the negativity will help convince your ego that it's got to stay here. It's got to remain here. This is the place to be. Woe is me. Have you ever tried negotiating with a pessimist? I equate it to it's kind of like riding your bike in the snow. I just had to do this recently for a crazy skit that I did with my brother. and it's pretty crazy, right? It's uncomfortable. It's kind of comical. And you already know what the outcome is going to be. You're pretty much going to fail in getting where you need to go. So the pessimist is going to bring you right down to why your advice or your suggestions just always aren't going to work for them. You see, they need to ride their bike in the snow because it's a bike and it's snowing. They have their minds made up before you even suggest it. They don't want to hear it. Okay? They want to live in their truth. They want to live here because their ego has attached to their pain. Here we have it. Eckhart Tolle helped me to see this many, many years ago when reading his book, The Power of Now. But more so, Jesus taught me how he was able to be Jesus. Never, not once, operating from his ego. Now, we could say that Jesus had a healthy ego because, yeah, our ego plays a part in a various amount of things. Okay. That's where his self-respect operated out of, along with his authentic self. That's where you have to have self-esteem to be witty, to be funny, to be humble, right? and loving. He had a healthy ego, not an ego that operated from his emotions, fueled from his pain. So here we have it, our pain. If we aren't careful, our pain can take us to these very, very dark places. And before we know it, we're dwelling there. We're ruminating. We're swearing in our heads, cursing those who have wronged us. And that in turn poisons your hearts. It shatters your God-given spirit and essentially breaks your soul. And why? All because some buffoon decided to be an ignorant buffoon in your life? Newsflash, that ignorant buffoon was one to countless people that they have come across in their life. So you're not anyone special. I want to make this very clear in this video if you haven't already clicked off of it because it's too hard to hear. You are entitled to your pain. Everybody is. And in today's video, I am not even slightly trying to diminish pain because I know in this community, there is more of it than there should be. But what I am trying to get you to understand is that the best way to figuring out and finding the best place to deal with your pain so that you're not giving these people exactly what they were looking for in the first place. The people who did these things to you, that they were able to do to you, think about it. Could they actually be happy, healthy people to be able to do these things in the very first place? I think you know the answer to that. The answer is no, no siree. So for all my authentic, genuine, loving souls out there, I know you. I see you. God knows you and God sees you. He knows your heart and he's going to heal it. You were born with that positive, bubbly spirit in the midst of all you've endured throughout your life, since childhood, some of us. Think about all the trials and tribulations in your life with people, situations, outcomes you've encountered. And look at you. You made it. You're here. And you're so incredibly special. God made you perfect. There's not one mistake, not one single mistake he made when he made you. You were not an accident. And so, lastly, I want to say this. He still got you here. You have your gifts to fulfill, and you have God's will to complete. And God doesn't want you to be thinking one more minute about these fools turned reprobates. That is their problem, and you thank God for getting you out of that. Even if you still have to deal with some of these people, always remember this. Their problems don't have to be yours. So I want you to pick yourself up today and tell your authentic self to come on forward. You know, the one that loves to smile, that loves to laugh. And tell your ego, which is where the devil operates from, that it can go straight back to hell where it belongs. You're all done with that horse crap nonsense. Let the clowns go off, and your hope for them is that they go on to graduate clown college. Okay? Because you've got bigger and better things to do. You know that the Holy Spirit is working within you because you will know when you have this want and desire to transform, to have a transformation of your character, to get to this point of being completely unfazed by what people decide to do. All right? And your goal and your want every day you wake up is desire to get better and better and better through all of it. And most importantly, to be more like Christ every day. Well, that's my message for all of you today. I hope that you take it well, and I hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for your support of this channel all of these years. For those of you that are new to the channel, I thank you so much for being here. I can always be found here. Where is it? Here it is. This is where you can find me to take you for coaching. I take people for coaching all the time, and I'd love to be able to help you to understand your situation and how to best heal. Uh, we're finding out there that people aren't healing with standard uh, therapy out there because people think this is psychological, and that's the problem. And then they're putting you on medications. You're getting more problems. And so, yeah, I've reached over the 4,000 mark of over 4,000 sessions I've delivered in the last 6 years. And because of all of you working with me, I've been able to gather research about really what's going on with people. So I'd love to be able to help you out. Reach out to me. Thanks for being here. I'm Trace Face. And as always, it's time that we face the truth together.